Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So today is going to be a recovery day. Unfortunately, I picked up a mild hamstring strain yesterday. Nothing serious, thankfully. It's something I can walk on pain-free, but I've got to take care of it because if you don't take care of the small injuries and you just ignore them, you can actually make them worse and it's going to keep you off the pitch. But this morning I'm heading over to the gym to get some active recovery. I'm going to get some mild strengthening work, so I'm going to take you guys along and basically show you how I take care of my injuries immediately, because it's very important what you do with your injuries in those early phases. So we're going to head over there. I'm also going to talk a little bit more when we get home, some other things I'm doing for my recovery to help speed up the process, and also some other little hints and tips that might help you if you get any injuries as well. But just want to say a huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Squarespace is where I built 7mlctraining.com. So 7mlctraining.com has quite literally become the central hub of my entire brand. You can access my Instagram page if you want to get access to quick drills. You can also get to my podcast, my training programs, everything 7mlc training you can find on my website. The great thing about Squarespace, you don't need to know anything about coding or web design. They've got templates, they've got so many tools to help you build a professional looking website. So if you do ever consider building a website for yourself, check out squarespace.com/7mlc. I'm going to put that link in the description and you can get 10% off your first website. I'm just going to finish up my morning coffee and my vitamin drink, hydrate a little bit, answer a few emails, and then we'll head over to the gym. So I'm just going to walk you through my gym routine and show you how I'm rehabbing my hamstring. So I had this exact same injury about 2 to 3 years ago, and I'm just going to show you the workout that my physio at the time assigned me. So we start with a static bike for 15 minutes. This is a great way to get the blood circulating around the body and get some cardio in without putting too much impact on the body itself. When you're running, you're putting a lot of pressure on those muscle fibers, but when you're on the bike, you're taking all of that load off, so you can get up to a good pace and get a good sweat without making the injury worse. Then I tested out a little bit just on this self-powered treadmill. So the faster I run, the faster the treadmill moves, so I can be in full control of my pace. And I'm doing this all pain-free. If you're having any pain whatsoever with any of these exercises, you should be stopping. But thankfully, this is just a grade 1 hamstring strain that should be fully healed in about a week or two, and I should be back on the pitch very soon. So moving into the strength portion of my routine, and you're going to notice everything I do today is going to be body weight. So I'm not using any weights whatsoever. Don't want to put too much stress on the injured area and make that injury any worse, because essentially you've overstretched your muscle fibers when you pulled them. So when you're adding load to your exercises, you're stretching those muscle fibers even more. So if you have a small tear in those fibers, you're just going to tear them even worse. And you could turn what is a grade 1 hamstring strain, which what I have, and you could turn it into a grade 2 or even 3 if you really overdo it, which is just going to keep you off the pitch for so long. So make sure pain is the navigator for your workouts. If you're feeling any pain whatsoever, you're doing too much. So allow your body to give you those clues and make sure you're listening to them too. I know everyone wants to get back on the pitch as soon as possible and test out the strength of their injury, but really let pain be the guide. So as much as you can do without pain, push it as much as you can, but also don't push it too much and don't ignore any pain in your body whatsoever. So as you can see here, doing a lot of body weight exercises, but I'm working both eccentrically and isometrically. So eccentrically is when you're moving, so for example a bicep curl, but an isometric exercise is when I'm holding at the top. So as you can see, I'm moving for a first few reps of these hip thrusts, and then I actually hold the pose to work on my isometric strength as well. You want to be building both. And then I'm going into some core as well. You want to be keeping your entire body strong throughout your injuries. If you read up on a lot of muscle recovery online, you're going to get a lot of information that's aimed more at the general public. They're not athletes, so you're going to get a lot of advice telling you to rest. But if you work with any professional physiotherapist or club doctor, they're going to tell you to do active recovery to keep as much of the body strong as possible, because not only is that going to help you get back in shape when you can train again quicker, but it's also going to keep that injured area more protected. If you control the muscles around the injury and keep those strong, it actually takes the load off of the injured area, and also the blood circulating is going to get fresh blood into that injured area as much as possible, which again is going to speed up that recovery. So when you are doing your research, really try and find those articles that are written by sports physiotherapists, not just general doctors. They're giving good advice for the general public, but remember, athlete advice is always a little bit different because the goal is to get back on the pitch as soon as possible. So we're really trying to strengthen those muscles, break down the scar tissue. There's a lot of things that athletes need to do to take care of injuries, as opposed to somebody who maybe just tweaked their hamstring walking down the street, walking up the stairs or something like that. So as you can see, a lot of bodyweight stuff today, and thankfully everything was pain-free, so really confirming it was a grade 1 hamstring strain, so I should be back on the pitch in the next week or two. But when I do get back on the pitch, everything's going to be a gradual increase in intensity, so I'll start off very lightly, just technical work, some light jogging, then with each session I'll increase the intensity slightly. That's really important that you ease back into it. If you jump straight back into how you were training before the injury, you're just going to re-injure it and be back to square one, and you'll be on a very frustrating journey trying to get back match fit. So everything should be eased into, but most importantly, let pain be the indicator. If there's pain, stop the exercises that you're doing. Alright guys, so I'm back home now, and pretty much for the rest of the day I'm just going to be cycling through a routine that has been really effective for me when recovering from injury in the past. So I'm going to share some of those with you, and hopefully they'll be as effective for you as they have been for me. But I just want to mention I am not a physiotherapist or a doctor, but I have worked at a lot of clubs with physiotherapists when I've gotten injuries in the past. So I've gained some knowledge from them, and I've also done my own research, and I would encourage you guys to do the same. Research as much as you can, understand about your own body and how you can help speed up that recovery process. So there are a few tools that I typically use for my recovery. They're not magic in any way in themselves. These aren't going to heal you, but what they do is help your body speed up that natural healing process. So your body is what's going to heal itself. These are just going to aid and speed that process along, so just bear that in mind. But I know recovery can be really overwhelming, you don't know where to begin, so what I'm going to do is give you the 5 most effective tips that have helped me with my recovery, and hopefully they'll help you with yours as well. So the first tip is your nutrition and hydration. So your food is your body's fuel. This is where it's getting all its nutrition to help the body function as efficiently and effectively as possible. Now I'm not going to go into the exact foods you should be eating. There is so much information online on how to structure a healthy diet, but especially during your recovery period, this is when you should be fueling your body with the highest quality foods possible. But the thing is, if you're eating a lot of sugary foods and junk foods, you're going to slow down that recovery. It's going to increase inflammation. It's not going to help you clear out all of those waste products from the injured area. It's just going to delay that process. Really try to clean up your diet through your injured phase, and you will see an improvement in your fitness, in your health, and it's only going to help you get back on the pitch sooner. Also, hydration goes hand in hand with nutrition, so you should be trying to stay as hydrated as possible, not even just as an athlete, as a human being. Helps your body function at its best, but especially as an athlete, because you're training a lot and you're sweating, you're losing a lot more water than the average person, so you need to be topping up those supplies as well. And especially during your injured phases, your water helps transport nutrients around the body. It's going to get all of that good stuff into the injured area and speed up the healing process, and it just helps all your cells function at their best, which is also going to help you speed up your recovery as well. So hydration is key. So step 1 is nutrition and hydration. Step 2 is pretty much common sense, but you should be stopping the activity you're doing immediately as you feel an injury. And the reason this is so important is because when you pull a muscle, basically you've pulled on those muscle fibers too much that they've actually started to separate a little bit. They're pulling away from each other, and you're going to get micro tears in the fibers. But if you continue your activity, you're going to pull those fibers even more. You're going to get more tears, and you can actually turn that into a more severe strain. And the recovery for that kind of injury is so long. So the minute you feel any kind of injury, really try and stop the activity that you're doing immediately. And then you want to get some ice on it. So if you're somewhere where they have ice on site, try and get it on there as soon as possible. But at the very least, as soon as you get home, get some ice on the injured area. That's going to help reduce the inflammation. For me personally, I found it really effective to compress and ice at the same time. You can use a bag of frozen peas and use a compression bandage or compression shorts at the very least as well. But try and get some form of compression on there and some cold. Something else you can do as well is switch between hot and cold, because the cold takes out the inflammation and all the swelling, and it restricts the blood flow. And then if you get hot on it, about 10 minutes after or so, you're going to get fresh blood into that area, which is all very nutrient rich. I've got one of these heat blankets here, so sometimes I'll put ice on it for 10 minutes, then immediately after I'll put hot on it for 10 minutes. So that's my second piece of advice. Now moving into my third tip, which is active recovery. So as soon as possible, you want to be doing something active to keep the body moving and the blood circulating around the body. You don't want to take a complete rest unless it's a very severe injury. So if this is something like an ACL tear, or it's a grade 3 hamstring tear or something like that, you definitely want to be resting during that time. But if it's a mild sprain or a strain or a muscle pull, you want to be doing active recovery to get the blood circulating around the body and basically keeping your body strong as well. Because when we rest, especially for a long period of time, our body gets weaker, and we don't want to be losing strength in our body, especially if you're an athlete that trains regularly all the time. Our body loses strength and fitness a lot quicker than we actually develop it. So basically when we're injured, a certain part of our body is weakened. So for me it's my hamstring, but that doesn't mean I give my whole body a rest, because then everything else is going to start getting weaker as well. It's not going to support that area, and it's just going to delay my recovery time. So as you guys saw in the workout that I did this morning, it's a lot different to the workouts I usually do. Usually I'm doing a lot of plyometrics, I'm doing weight training, it's a lot more explosive. This morning's workout was very low intensity, but still keeping my entire body moving. So this is going to help speed up that recovery. It's going to keep those muscles strong. It's going to keep the blood circulating around the body to get healthy blood into the injured area. It's just going to benefit you a lot more in the long run than if you were to completely take the day off. So moving into my fourth piece of advice that's been really effective for me is to get some sort of massage on the affected area after a couple of days, I would say, because what happens is your body starts to lay down what's called scar tissue over the injured area, which is supposed to protect it and help those muscle fibers reconnect so they can build stronger once again. So it lays the scar tissue over it so that those torn muscle fibers can then reattach and heal. The only problem with scar tissue, it's not as elastic as muscle fibers, so it's not going to be as springy. And as a result, if you don't break down the scar tissue, you're not going to have as much function in that area as you did previously. It's not going to be as elastic, as responsive, and you're going to find it's a lot stiffer, and with this you're actually at more risk of re-injuring the area as well. So what you want to be doing is using some kind of massage technique which is going to help break down that scar tissue, and there's a few different ways you can do this. You can either go and see a massage therapist and get it done professionally, or you can use a foam roller if you have access to one at home. If you don't, you can use a tennis ball, or you can use what I like to use as a massage gun. So basically with these massage guns, you're getting a high concentration of impact on the affected area. It's going to help get blood flow to the area, and it's also going to break down that scar tissue. It's going to work it out and turn it into higher quality tissue, which is going to be a lot more elastic, and once you get back on the pitch, you're going to be at a lot less risk of re-injuring the area as well. So if you can get access to one of these, I would really recommend it. For those of you interested in the exact massage gun that I use the Playmaker MVP, and it's been really effective for me. I've tried quite a few massage guns, and by far this is the best one. The reason I like it, it has 6 speeds, so you can get a very intense massage with it, and it also comes in this very convenient case. And in fact, if you use my code in the description, you can get this case free with it, which has been so helpful for me transporting it around to my training sessions. But it also comes with all these different heads on it as well, so you can actually tailor the massage depending on what you need. So this is a great one for the back. You can get either side of the spine to help relieve tension in the back. You can also have a smaller head, so these bulb heads I really like for an all-over massage. And if you want a really intense massage, if you have a particularly sore area, this is the one you want to use. This bullet head allows you to get right into that affected area, so it's very localized, very intense. But really would recommend Playmaker if you're looking for a high quality massage gun. The charge on this thing is amazing as well. Since I've gotten it over a month ago, I only charged it in the first week, and I haven't had to charge it since. So the battery life on it is phenomenal. Comes with a few accessories as well, so you get the charger, you get all the massage heads, you get the instructions, and it comes in this really cool case, which is very easy to transport it around. Also with Playmaker, this is another thing I've been using. So this is a muscle stimulator that provides electrotherapy, which essentially contracts the muscle without actually having to do any exercise. So you can be watching television and you can contract the muscle so it strengthens over time. So if you have an injured area that's kind of sore and you can't put it through a lot of activity, this is really good for keeping it strong. So these discs here are what provide the electronic therapy. That's where the current goes through. So you attach it to these self-adhesive pads, and you stick it right on the affected area. And then with this wireless remote controller, you can set up a program so you can put it on for as long as you want, 5, 10, 20 minutes. And then you can just sit watching television. You can increase the intensity of the stimulation as well. If you want something a bit more intense, you can decrease it if the muscle's really sore. But then it's just going to be contracting that muscle. This is the version I got, so it's the Playmaker Strength and Recovery System Wire Muscle Stimulator, and I got the Pro model. So I would really recommend this. Do some research on it first. I'm going to leave links in the description to this as well. But if you want another tool that can really help speed up your recovery, this is definitely worth checking out. So this is the brand that I've been using, Playmaker. I really trust their recovery tools. Check them out in the description below, and as I said, if you use the link you can actually get this free case. Definitely worth checking out with the link if you want to pick up the MVP, and also check out the muscle stimulator too if you're interested in something that's going to help you with your muscle recovery. And my final tip for recovery, and this might sound like common sense, but gradually get back into your sport after your injury. Don't go back to the exact same level you were training at before. That's a quick way to re-injure the area and you're back to square one again, having to go through all of this. It's just going to keep you off the field a lot longer. It might make you damage that area even more so. So make sure you're easing back into your training. Start off at a low intensity and then add a bit of intensity with each session. Let pain be the indicator for it. I always treat pain almost like the check engine light on a car. If there's pain, it means that your body's telling you there's something wrong in the body that needs addressing. You might just need a little bit more time to let it heal. So listen to your pain and let that be the guide. If there is any pain whatsoever, just make sure you're stopping whatever you're doing because you might be making that injury worse. But if you can continue without pain, then you can increase the intensity a little bit. If still no pain, the next session you can increase it a little bit more. But the worst is increasing the intensity too much and then going back to square one. You can always add a little bit, but you can't take off intensity after you've already gone too far with it. But that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Just before I go, I want to say another huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. You already know, Squarespace is where I built 7mlctraining.com. It's been a game changer for my brand. I didn't know anything about web design or coding, and they helped me build a professional looking website. So once again, link is going to be in the description, www.squarespace.com/7mlc, and you can get 10% off your first website. But hopefully next session I'll be back on the pitch. I'm going to be taking care of my recovery, making sure I'm doing this routine very structured, very deliberately, and hopefully I'll have some more drills for you soon. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you smash the like button, hit the subscribe button for weekly training videos, and I will see you guys in my next video.